Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of A Chapter a Day Keeps the Doctor Away. My name is Alan, otherwise known as Heesme, and I'm from ReverseThemes.com as well as the Speakeasy Podcast. This time I'm looking at One Piece, chapter 470, otherwise known as Please! Not Please, or Please Please Me, but with 3 exclamation points, so you know it's for serious. And we start off with Zoro already proving that if you give him a chance, he will get lost anywhere. And it seems that our originally 4-person party is now down to 2 as Violet and Luffy are escaping Pika and, getting away from him because Zoro just got lost on his own and Pika seems to be focusing on him. But Zoro's like, where do I strike this guy to actually do damage? And where did everybody go? Probably thinking, everybody else got lost. Man, they have a bad sense of direction. So it looks like Zoro's going to be the one fighting Pika for a while. Maybe not the one who takes him out, but the one who's going to be fighting him for a while. And Mr. Soldier seems to have gotten away from Lao G. I kind of didn't expect that, but they have made a big deal that guy is kind of senile. Plus, I mean, if he wasn't on the boat, I definitely think Lao G would be a Sanji opponent. He seems the martial arts guy, so... But Sanji's back at the boat, and he's probably going to be at the boat for a while, so I'm kind of curious who's going to fight Lao G, but we shall see. But he gets away from him, but it's definitely one of those situations where he's out of the fire and into the frying pan, because Lao G was tough, but Officer Gladius, who they run into, is pretty much a anti Mr. Soldier fighter. Because as we learn, his shtick is, if he touches inorganic material, he can blow it up and make it explode. So, Mr. Soldier, being in toy form right now, is 100% a target. And he easily takes care of the 2 fairies that are with him and is about, basically gets into melee range with Mr. Soldier and is beginning to blow him up when all of a sudden he's saved by Luffy. And Officer Gladius is really upset when he sees Violet's with them. And he's like, how dare you betray our organization? And she's like, I was never with you guys. And he's like, that's even worse. And Luffy's about to fight this guy when Violet just makes them like, basically, we don't have time for this guy. We just got to get out of here. He's just too tough. Not that we couldn't defeat him, but he's just too tough for us to waste time here. So they start running away, and with little gum, rocket action through a window, Luffy avoids having to fight him. But before that, we find out he can blow up anything inorganic like his clothing, so he basically blows up his hat and creates all this shrapnel. And Violet gets hit by the shrapnel. Now, it seems pretty much not that important. I mean, she's fine and talking in the next chapter. I mean, Luffy's still carrying her around, but I'm wondering if that's going to come into play if she got hit worse than she is letting on. I'm kind of curious about that. But we'll see. Right now, though, she seems fine. I just feel like they put just enough emphasis on it that I don't think that's the last we're going to hear of her getting hit by that, that piece of shrapnel. But we'll see. And while Gladius is looking, where Luffy, Mr. Soldier, and Violet went, he runs into a very different looking Don Flamingo, and we finally found out where Kiyumon went. And I was really thinking him popping up again was going to be a big damn heroes moment. Like, a fight's going, maybe bad for the Straw Hat crew, or maybe, it's really like dead even, and then all of a sudden someone like Don Flamingo comes in and he's like, ha ha ha, this fight was even, but now this, the young master's here. It's over for you guys. And then all of a sudden, Don Flamingo attacks the guy, and you find out it's Kiminamon, or maybe they're both fighting, Don Flamingo, people are fighting Don Flamingo, and then one of his allies comes and attacks him, or saves Luffy at the last minute, and it turns out to be, Kinemon. But, or if they all got caught for some reason, maybe he'd be the guy who saves them. I mean, that all those scenarios could still happen, but I kind of expected, the fact that they hadn't shown him for a while, and you didn't know where he was, I kind of expected finding out where he was the next time to be a bigger reveal. But he does ask Gladius where his samurai friend is, and that guy's like, oh, that samurai that we captured, yeah, he's disappeared. So the person that Kinemon is looking for, we don't know what's happened to him. So he's definitely a mystery. There's obviously some kind of story behind that. I guess it will be interesting to see. And the last leg is that we find out that but before the last leg, actually, we find out that Frankie is kind of making a ruckus, still holding his own against some Don Flamingo guys as well as submarines, and he's like, I'm gonna be no good down there. I'm just gonna make so much of a racket, draw away soldiers and generals and stuff up here that, I'm not gonna do any good down there. So, plus those guys don't need me. It's better for me to be a big distraction up here than go down there, where I'm just gonna bring everybody following me there too. And we learned that's not the best Frankie decision, possibly, because everything has totally gone south. Robin quickly grabs Sugar in hopes that Luffy could just, not Luffy, Usopp could, fireball in the mouth of Sugar, knock her out with the hot sauce bowl, and, then the basement stuff is all done. But she's just a little too slow, and Usopp's just a little too hesitant. So Robin just gets turned into a toy, and Usopp's like, retreat! So, they're both going after Usopp, and Usopp's like, man, I'm just going to run away until Frankie comes, because I can't be a big damn hero. And, wow. I mean, I definitely expected things to go south, but I did not expect Robin to get turned into a toy so quickly. So, but she still seems to have her free will. Like, they seem to be so preoccupied with catching Usopp that Sugar didn't have time to basically contract Robin. So, like Mr. Soldier, she's still a free toy as it stands. So, I'm wondering how much that's going to come into play. But, I mean, Robin is kind of really good as an infiltrator, so her kind of running around as a toy might kind of be a boon at this point. But, man, I'm a little disappointed with this chapter. I mean, most of it was pretty good. And, just a little bit of, what is this group doing? What's this group doing? I'm actually kind of mostly disappointed with Usopp. Because Usopp running away is not horrible. I mean, with two major officers of the Don Flamingo family, he is definitely not the type of Sanji, Zoro, Luffy character to be like, bring it, guys! But, his thing, like, him running away kind of in a art of war, all right, I'm going to run to somewhere where I have a disadvantage. I mean, that seemed like what I thought his character was like after the time skip. Like, he's not a confrontational fighter still, but, he manned up a bit and was a little closer to being, the true warrior of the sea. Definitely a progress of his character. But he definitely just seems to be like, run away and hope somebody else solves it. Which, I mean, is old Usopp, definitely. It's not like it's, but I feel it's a little bit of a regression. If he was just, I just feel like him really just hoping that Frankie can solve it just seems a little, I don't know, pre-time skip. Like, I feel like he was really kind of in the position to start winning over fans who didn't like Usopp as a character because he wasn't brave enough. And once again, him running away so he can regroup and, maybe take them on one at a time, or where he has an advantage, that, that's still really in line with the character, yet a character growth. But I feel like him just wanting nothing to do with the situation and basically being like, sorry, little fairies, you're all screwed. I don't know, it just seems a bit backwards in his character. Hopefully, some Soge King will slap him in the face. Because, when we see that scene with the king and Law interrogating, with the king and Law being interrogated by Don Flamingo and Baby Five, the three of them, Violet, Luffy, and Mr. Soldier, are basically waiting for Sugar's hold to disappear. And they basically can't do anything. Or at least they're not going to try to do anything until that happens. They'll probably get caught before then, but I really feel like, everybody else is really waiting on you, Usopp. You're the first one. Man. But, yeah, Don Flamingo is definitely getting a broader picture of what's going on. So, well, hopefully the next chapter will have Usopp redeem himself a little bit, But we'll see what happens. Also, if they could just go to the arena and finally show us who Lucy is, so we can all be like, all right, it's who we thought it was. I can move on. But once again, Oda's pretty good about when he reveals stuff. So I'm thinking we're probably going to have to wait a little more for that. But other than that, just one of those weird weeks where I was like, Bleach was totally yeah! And One Piece was like, mostly yeah, but So I'm sure next week everything will be back to normal. I'll be like, Bleach, it's definitely a series you read. And One Piece will be like, yeah! But, once again, I just wish they had kept with Usopp's character progression. But we'll see. He could still redeem himself in the next chapter easily. All right. We'll see if that happens next week. Bye-bye.